friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Synesthesia Tarot, and in today's pick a card reading we are going to be looking at messages from the universe, God, your spirit guides, whatever you want to call it. If you clicked on this video and you have never done a pick a card reading before, I will quickly explain how they work. We have 4 piles here today. Pile 1 with the Lightseers Tarot and this aquamarine stone. Pile 2 with the Synesthesia Tarot and this opalite Merkaba. Pile 3 with the 8th House Tarot and the flower agate heart. And pile 4 with the intuitive night goddess tarot and the Larimar moon. So in terms of how to pick your pile, you should pick it based upon the pile that you feel the most drawn to. It's kind of like a gut feeling, but you might be drawn to more than one pile. This is absolutely okay. Especially in a reading like this, it's quite possible that there could be messages in more than one pile for you, but you can use things like a pendulum or meditate on the cards to pick which pile or stone you feel most drawn to. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just go with your gut and you won't go wrong. So once you have picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box where I'll have each pile listed, and then we will get into your reading. Hi there, pile 1. If you guys chose, well, we're starting this reading off great, aren't we? If you guys chose this aquamarine tumbled stone, this is going to be your reading. So I already have your oracles shuffled, but we are going to be looking at your tarot and your oracle, and then we're going to get channeled messages from your spirit guides, and then finally we will get advice and any other messages your guides might have for you through the charms. So hope you all are having a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. So we are just going to ask Spirit and let whatever needs to come out come through. So Spirit, what do you want pile 1 to know at this time? What messages do you have for pile 1, please? Okay. 8 of Pentacles. Strength in reverse. Fool in reverse. 7 of Wands in reverse. Queen of Wands in reverse. The 9 of Swords in reverse. And on the back of the deck, the 8 of Wands in reverse. Okay, let me just smooth these out. Alrighty, now let's look at your oracles. So to start, we have Crossroad, choice. We have the Taiga, Roots of Abundance, number 2. Dreams, number 26. Answer the Call, what is your soul calling you to do? Smother, 30, and Abdication, responsibility. Okay. That's interesting. You ended on 8s as well. This is an interesting message, and I think it's very fitting for you guys as well. It's strength in 8 too. Wow, we have a lot of fire signs here. So Leo especially, Sagittarius and Aries as well. What I'm seeing here though is that your spiritual journey has gotten you to this point where it's time for you to not necessarily start over, but to level up. And I think part of you is really ready for this, but the other part of you is really struggling to maybe get out of certain habits or really commit to the direction you feel like you're being guided to, or the direction you feel like you should go in. And I think one of your biggest issues right now is the fact that you're probably having trouble genuinely trusting the guidance that you're getting from your guides. And I feel like I have to say right away, you already have a wonderful work ethic, and that's really not the issue here. The issue here is trusting the guidance that you're actually getting. And a big thing that I'm hearing, especially with these cards, is that one, your third eye chakra is opening up a lot. And you're getting guidance in the form of dreams, and also your abilities are being heightened specifically at night. In fact, you might be really sensitive to the moon phases. This tiger talks all about kind of being in tune with the lunar forces. I'm thinking of when Dwight Schrute, if you watch The Office, when he talks about wishing that he had a menstrual cycle so he could be more in tune with the moon and the tides. You don't have to be a woman, but or a person who menstruates, but I feel like what Spirit is saying here is that you're not allowing yourself to really let go of the 3D. You're open to all the wee-woo-y shit about spirituality, but you're having a really hard time fully committing and trusting what your gut is telling you. And here's what's really interesting, is that you've been working really hard, and Spirit is noting that with this Roots of Abundance card, this is all about grounding, but also trusting that the universe has your back and you're being guided to do what it is that you're doing. And I think at this point, Spirit is asking you to stop using issues in the physical world as a way to delay addressing what's going on inside, because you're not going to be able to delay that for forever. And I feel like you're suppressing a lot of inner stuff that you kind of need to be addressing right now. It could have to do with career, but I think that this doesn't necessarily have to be about your career. I think it could just be about anything your soul is calling you to do, whether it's exploring a new hobby or a new topic, whether it is reaching out to somebody that maybe you haven't talked to in a while, whether it's trying to think of some other examples here. Maybe starting a new business endeavor or a new creative project. I feel like Spirit has been giving you answers and messages in your dreams. So they want you to be writing that down. I have a very specific message for some of you though. So if you don't smoke pot, disregard this message. But for those of you who do, it's possible that your habit of doing this right before you go to bed is suppressing your ability to dream. So I feel like Spirit is saying if you're going to imbibe, maybe try to do that earlier in the day. But I mean, if you're saying ASO, that's simply not possible. That's fine. Maybe look into adding mugwort or mixing it with mugwort and smoking that at night instead, or a mix of it if you feel like you can't just stop, if it helps you sleep or something like that. But yeah, we can sometimes suppress your dreams. So for those of you who are struggling to remember your dreams or dream at all when you're typically a very vivid dreamer, Spirit's kind of highlighting that, and that might be something that's stopping you from getting all of the messages in your dreams. But what's really interesting is that you are getting tons of guidance at night. And I think that it's even when you're awake too, like intuitive downloads. So I feel like that's maybe why Spirit's wanting you to use substances less at night, because your powers are stronger then. Your psychic abilities are more gifted at, or not more gifted, but it's just almost like your mind is clearer at night and it's easier for Spirit to communicate with you. With this Seven of Wands here though, I feel like you might still be struggling in terms of protecting your energy and also not allowing your emotions to get the best of you, because I think at some level you feel like you allow people to get to you too much, or you care too much about what others think, or you might be really sensitive to energy. And at times you might not understand why you have emotional reactions the way you do. So Spirit is really asking you to come up with some sort of routine in the morning and at night in terms of like meditation, but also just getting to know your energy. I feel like there's a fear here of truly getting to know yourself because you're afraid you might not like what you see. And what's really important to know is that we have to look at the good and the bad aspects of ourselves if we truly want to embrace the light. You know, love and light isn't just love and light and then completely ignoring the aspects of ourselves that are not very ideal. That's not the case at all. It's shedding light on those shadow aspects that we're not proud of, that actually help us to improve them and to change them. And I think at times you might get unfairly angry about yourself or get anxiety like you're not doing enough or you can't do something. And I think it comes down to a really simple issue of just not being present and in touch with yourself enough. I think that you use your physical surroundings as a way to distract what your soul is trying to tell you to do. And so what's interesting here is with this answer the call, what is your soul calling you to do, and smother. I don't think you're being smothering to anyone, but I think you're starting to experience, or if not, you have been experiencing this feeling of being smothered in your gut or like around your heart area. And it might not be like physical, but like I'm taking a deep breath right now. And like I feel like that's because it's almost like you haven't been able to breathe as freely lately. And it's kind of because your guides are really trying to call your attention inward so that you can figure out what's going on and correctly interpret the messages that you need to address, because you are at a crossroads right now. And it doesn't have to be like a literal crossroads, like making some kind of choice, but I do feel like you're in this transitory phase where you're leaving a lot of parts of you behind that you don't want and embracing this new life and this new world for yourself. But you're really holding yourself back because you are refusing to take actions that will eliminate the present actions or the present habits that are holding you back from embodying who you're truly meant to be. And so I feel like the reason why there's so much blocked energy is because you know these things. Like there's a lot of things that you know, but you're not doing them. So then in turn, it's harder for you to believe them, if that makes sense. And it's stopping you from feeling like you're truly on a new path. And with the Nine of Swords here, part of me wonders if some of these habits are so instinctual you don't even realize that you do them. Maybe if it's like being on your phone too much or ignoring things that need to be addressed. I also feel like journaling is really huge for you and something that you should be doing if you're not already. Your dreams, for one, you should be journaling, but also just kind of your day-to-day, because I think you might have this habit of saying things that you probably wouldn't, or maybe sharing things with people that you don't necessarily want to share and you find yourself accidentally oversharing. And I think that might stem from other things, but I think it might make you happy or get that urge out to say things that maybe later you wish you hadn't shared. If you wrote that down, it's almost like talking to yourself. And I think that talking to yourself in the form of journaling would really help you, one, see how cool and funny you are, and also it will help you get in touch with yourself, because I think that you know you're meant for really great things and your soul is ready to take action for it. But I think that you have fears of, what if this shit isn't real? What if I can't do it? What if I fail? And Spirit is saying, listen to your dreams. Listen to what your soul is telling you. You can stay the same way, but be honest with yourself. Is the way that you are right now, does that really feel good? Is that really, are you truly happy living your life this way? And if the answer is no, then it's time to take responsibility and abdicate the things that are not serving you right now, so that you can embody the life that you truly want and take the actions that you need in order to be successful. Your soul has things that it needs to address to you that you may be aware of or you may not. And I feel like part of the reason why you're not addressing these things is because you're just afraid that if you do it, you might fail. And here's the thing about failure. Failure isn't actually failure. Failure is just learning from not being successful, which even then, failure and success have their own definitions. But anything that doesn't go the way you want it to, there's lessons in that. But also, it's important for you to trust that the universe is not trying to lead you astray. And sometimes things take 10 tries, 20 tries, but I think that endurance is something big here. And I think that your spiritual endurance is not very strong. And I don't mean that in like a bad way, like you're not spiritual or your psychic abilities are trash. Like, no, that's not what I mean at all. I think that you have the ability to be very open to them, but for whatever reason, it might scare you or you might think it's bullshit. Either reason is valid. But it might be really stopping you from embracing these spiritual gifts you have. And I'm seeing specifically clairvoyance. I think you should really pay attention to your daydreams as well, because the things that you're daydreaming about are desires of your soul. And, you know, maybe some of them aren't the most realistic. Like if you're daydreaming about becoming a world famous basketball player and you've never played basketball a day in your life, like that one might not be the most feasible. But you know, maybe something to do with basketball, like starting a rec league for kids in your area, or I don't know, just the things that you feel called to, whether they're people, they're hobbies, things you want to try. Explore them. There's value in the things that your soul is trying to get to you. And I feel like you're closed off to it right now out of fear and out of not knowing how to change your habits. And here's the thing, sometimes we can't change our habits by ourselves. Sometimes we do need help, whether that's in the form of a counselor, a therapist, a life coach, a doctor, our friends, our family, whatever kind of outside help you need, get it, because it's okay to need help with things. It's not shameful to feel like you need help. Like if everybody did everything by themselves, I mean, a lot of shit wouldn't get done and a lot of things wouldn't change. And I feel like one thing that Spirit is saying is that you're so much stronger than you realize. And the fact that we have 3 8s here, 888, is that there's a lot of abundance waiting for you on the other side of conquering these roadblocks that are stopping you from achieving your greatness. Because I can tell your soul's ready to take action. I just think your 3D physical self is not necessarily ready. You're a hard worker. There's no doubt about that. And so I think what you just need to realize is that you need to trust yourself, because you have the discipline and you have, I'm hearing like tenacity and drive. So you have like the tenacity and the drive to succeed. It's honestly, most of the fear is in your head and it's just doubt. And this Roots of Abundance asks you to really focus on grounding, especially when you're starting your day, because that will help you. It will help you stop I'm sorry, I was going somewhere with that and now I lost it. But grounding during the day will give you this protective energy. Actually, what I love here in the 7 of Wands, is there's like this protective bubble around her. And that is essentially your energy. And it's so easy throughout the day for like stupid shit to bother us that shouldn't bother us. Like, you know, if we're working and someone's just like a bitch to you, and it like hurts your feelings and it sucks. Like, yeah, that stuff sucks. I've worked retail. I know what that shit is like. And it's hard sometimes not to let that shit get to you. But when you're grounded and when you're feeling good and whole in yourself, it's a lot easier for you to be like, okay, they're probably just going on. They probably just have something going on in their life. You know, the way they treated me is not a reflection of me. It's on them. And if you're not protected, you might go back to your coworkers and be like, why the fuck did that bitch like say that shit about me? Like, I'll fight her, like whatever. You might get fired up. You might get like pissed. And while that might be fun sometimes, it might make you angrier and more emotional than you need to be. And so I think for you, learning how to protect your energy and trust what you feel intuitively is going to help you a lot, because like I said, with that outside guidance, while it can be helpful, there are things that you need to address within your soul that nobody else can really address for you. And I think that's kind of important, especially with this tarot reading. Kind of one of the biggest messages that Spirit has for you is that the things, this reading is essentially meant to say that, yes, the things that you see in your dreams, the things that you feel in your heart, the things that you daydream about, they do have merit, and there is a reason why Spirit is calling them to your attention. Now is the time to actually start grounding those things in the physical and trust the messages that you're getting for a reason. And, you know, if you're not happy right now, you're not on the right path. If you're happy, you're on the right path. So not to say that like you have like happiness is an everyday all the time thing. It's not. But you should be finding the path that makes you feel fulfilled and happy. And Spirit is assuring that you will get there. And whatever this topic may be, it will come in time. And they're just asking you to just start trusting, because this smothering feeling that you feel internally, it's just going to keep getting worse until you address it. So I think Spirit is asking you to kind of just trust that you are a more spiritual person by nature. And even if you don't feel like you are, because I feel like you suppress this a lot. I feel like you're pretty naturally intuitive, but just through growing up and living life in the physical world, it's really easy to lose that and to let go of that. But I feel like it's coming back very intensely for a reason. I feel like there's something big coming, some kind of choice you need to make, or some kind of new routine that you need to embody to become the person you want to be. But essentially, Spirit's asking you to stop delaying. You're just delaying where you want to be further by ignoring what's going on internally and just focusing on the external. So I hope that made sense. We're going to get you some channeled messages now from your spirit guides. Okay. Then we'll do charms. Okay, so Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 1? What do you want them to know? As you can tell, my cards are all messed up. So to start, we have, when your fire dies, so do you. Relight it by doing what makes you feel passionate. And yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. This is probably why you're like feeling this way, is because you're not doing the things that make you feel happy. You're not doing the things that light your fire. And there's so much fire in the spread. So, you know, whatever you're not doing right now, start doing it. Listen to what your soul says. 111, you are the magician. So Spirit is saying your manifestations are not going unnoticed, but you're actually slowing your manifestations down by doubting what it is that you're doing, and also by your habits. So I don't know if you've ever heard the term co-creating with the universe, but essentially that's the process of you put in the work and Spirit will put in the work. Spirit wants to put in the work, but your guides really can't help you if you don't take the action in the physical to get there. We also have who is against the queen will die. And I think that this is a wonderful representation of how people will, not people, your guides will get rid of the people that are not meant to be in your life and help you bring people who are for your growth, for what you need. And you might be seeing 111 as a synchronicity a lot, and Spirit is just saying that you are a powerful manifester and you can create the vision that you see inside, whether it be love related, work related, personal passion related, whatever it may be. There really is no right or wrong to this, but let's see what else they want you to know. But I also think that they just want you to be confident in the person that you're becoming, and recognize that if anyone has something negative to say about it, that's on them. Like, it's your job to follow your soul's truth. And just because your soul's truth isn't somebody else's truth doesn't mean it's wrong. There are objective truths in the world, which typically relate to the 3D, but soul truths are very subjective, and that's what you need to follow. We also have sacral chakra. So which makes a lot of sense because the sacral chakra relates to sexuality, passions, creativity. So I really think creativity and journaling could help you a lot. We also have when you see through the eyes of love, life doesn't feel as heavy, and light worker. So yeah, you are meant to be a light worker of some kind. And let's be clear, you can be a light worker and do really anything that you want. But a light worker is simply just somebody who is unafraid of what's to come. I'm channeling so weird today. I think it's because retrograde is coming. But being a light worker is essentially just bringing light and positivity to any area of your life that you're in. I feel like I said that incorrectly because I'm just on auto channel mode. But essentially, if you have not looked into being a light worker, it's time for you to do that. But on the back of the deck, we have 3 cards here, and I think they're all important. So the first one is big changes are coming. We are so proud of you. Keep up the good work and stay focused. And then we also have clairvoyant, you see it, which is what I was talking about, that clairvoyance. And finally, we have the Lemon Man from Adventure Time saying that you are in an acceptable condition. So I think that the key to this is recognizing that you are worthy of the things that you are seeing. Recognize that you are worthy of success, you're worthy of love, you're worthy of abundance, and your actions need to show how special and how worthy you are, whether that's adopting a self-care routine or something like that. Whatever you need to do in the physical to show your soul that you are actively working towards what your soul is asking you to do. And remembering that at the end of the day, you are just a beautiful little being and you can do whatever you want. And I am rooting you on, and so are your guides. So finally, let's get you some charms now. So Spirit, what do you have for pile 1? Okay. So we have another arrow. And this is all about taking action. There are a lot of things that you need to take action towards, which is interesting because I feel like you're used to taking action, but I feel like a lot of action is more external, and I think there's a lot of internal action you need to be focused on. And also we have the guitar pick, when words fail, music speaks. So I definitely think that you could get messages through music. If music is one of your passions, then this could be a sign to get into that. But also pay attention to any songs that come up in your head that you haven't listened to recently that get kind of stuck in your head, because those are typically messages from your guides. And also just pay attention to, lyrics and music and stuff like that, because it does seem like there are messages that Spirit is trying to get to you through music. We also have the mermaid, and so I'm thinking of like the call of the siren. And so, instead of siren being literally like a mermaid singing you and luring you to your death, I feel like this is a good siren where it's luring you to the new life you envision yourself having, to the life that you want to have. So Spirit's kind of asking you to start answering that call that your soul is asking you to do. And with this circus charm here, I feel like this relates to the craziness of everyday life. And I feel like Spirit's asking you to find a way to put that away for a couple minutes each day so that you can focus on you and focus on yourself. Because if you don't have time to ground yourself, to go within, you're always going to be swept up in the craziness of your day-to-day actions. And I think that you need to be your own biggest fan right now. I feel like you might be really helpful to others, but you don't really see the value in yourself. And I think that it's time. You know, I'm hearing like the song Circus by Britney Spears, like All Eyes on Me. We also have the letter O. So if that is significant in any way, I don't know if in XOXO, I think X's are kisses, right? So O's are hugs. So maybe you just even if it's like giving yourself a hug or giving someone you care about a hug, that might be something nice that will just help you feel a little bit better and a little bit brighter. We also have the padlock here. So yeah, so Spirit is saying that it's time to start unlocking those things inside of you that you are unwilling to release. And you might feel like you don't know what they are, but I promise with enough stillness and enough silence and enough going within, you will figure out what your soul is trying to tell you to do. The most important thing is that you write them down, especially if you're a forgetful person, so that, you know, they don't go unnoticed or you forget them. We also have the elephant here, and so I feel like Spirit is saying that you are absolutely capable of overcoming any obstacles that come your way. And if there are any obstacles that seem too big to overcome, then they're merely detours in the right direction. And finally, we have the letter G. Oh, so yeah, Spirit is saying go for it. It's time. Go for what you want. Go for what that person, that career, that hobby, whatever it is that your soul is calling you to do. Spirit is saying, hey, go for it. It's time. Do what your soul is wanting you to do, because you will not fail. You know, failure is subjective anyway. And I promise that by listening to your soul, you will find yourself in the place where you want to be. Even if it's not exactly how you envisioned it, it's usually better anyway. So pile 1, I'm gonna leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how this resonates, and I would love to hear what you guys are going after. If you enjoyed this video, definitely leave it a like, and if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and joined our little fam over here. But that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards and charms. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. If you guys chose the Opalite Merkaba and the Synesthesia Tarot, this is going to be your reading and what your guides, Spirit, wants you to know. So we have your oracle's already shuffled, and then we're going to get channel messages from the universe, and then we are going to do charms. So lots of different things in this reading today. Can't wait to get into them. So Spirit, what do you want Pile 2 to know at this time? What messages do you have for Pile 2, please? Okay. We have the High Priestess, the Star, the Five of Swords in reverse, the World, the Five of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and on the back of the deck we have the King of Pentacles. Very interesting. Okay, let's look at your oracles now. To start, we have guidance, higher consciousness, and elder, maturity. We have the cheetah, mirror, who or what is triggering you. Number 30, I am presence, the crown chakra. Move these up a little bit. Uncharted Sea, number 46. And finally 60, no bull. Okay. Where do we start with you guys? Let's just start with the High Priestess, because there's a very big message here, and a lot of it is about your guides communicating with you. With guidance, higher consciousness, Uncharted Sea, I am presence, and the High Priestess, there for some reason is an aversion for you to truly go within. You might quote meditate, but do you really go within? That's kind of the question that I'm asking. Because with this cheetah here, in order for you to feel alive, you need purpose and passion. But I think that you're at a point in life, no matter how old you are, where the things that you once did don't fulfill you the way they once did. And the things that you desire are not the things that you once desired. And so I feel like you're in this weird phase right now where you're really trying to figure out who you are. And with this World card here, there's kind of a beautiful thing with it being directly on top of the I am, because you are part of the world. But I think that you're trying to figure out your place in this world. What is your purpose, or who are you really? And that is something that is completely understandable. We all go through this where we're like, well, shit, who really am I? I mean, yeah, I live in this meat sack, but who am I like internally? And I think that you're reaching this point now where you're ready to take on new things. You're ready to become the person that your soul is yearning to be. And I'm just going to say right now, if you felt called to pile 1, you might want to watch that one as well, because these messages are very similar. But I think you're having a really hard time allowing yourself to change. And the interesting thing is that I feel like you want this change. You want to be different. But at the same time, I think you're afraid of that change. And I think that this change might be triggering. And so you might run from it at times. I feel like you visualize this really beautiful future for yourself. But maybe you don't know how to get there, or by what means you're going to get there. But I feel like you're mentally like at this place now where you recognize, okay, like I'm getting older, or it's time for me to change. Like something is changing here. And I think that one thing that you're struggling with, that the first pile was also struggling with, is an ability to change your perspective and change your habits. And with this no bull here, Spirit is asking you to stop telling yourself those little white lies to keep yourself from changing. I feel like Spirit's asking you to not lie to yourself in terms of what you want, because I feel like there might be this fear that what you want might not be accepted by the people around you or the outside world, or maybe you have no idea what you want, but you're too afraid to make changes or try things that would help you get a better idea of who you are. And I almost see there being an aversion to sitting with yourself, to being still and sitting in that stillness and allowing whatever to come. Because your internal world is still very uncharted, and understandably it might be daunting and even scary. Funny, I was talking about the ocean and then my water tank turned on, but Spirit is really saying that you don't find yourself through the, oh my God, that sounds like it's screaming. Is that what your internal dialogue sounds like? Because trust me, been there, don't blame you. And I feel like no matter what age you are, I feel like you see yourself and you're like, why? I feel like you envisioned yourself being further along than you are. And Spirit is saying, bro, we've been trying to give you guidance, but you won't listen to us. You are not taking it. And I think it's partially because you don't know who you are. And you're still trying to figure that out. And by no means, you're not going to be able to wave a magic wand and be like, oh, I am this person and I do these things. And yeah, your definition of yourself is constantly changing, and it changes all the time. For example, when I was 5, I was a princess. When I'm 22, I'm a tarot reader and a princess. But the point is that, like, you know, it changes. If you're on a sports team, you're that mascot, you're the panther or the cheetah or whatever. Like, the definition of yourself is constantly changing, and you don't have to embody one definition your entire life. Now, for me, I will forever be a princess or a queen, whatever. I'm both. But you're allowed to have labels that stick with you forever, but it's also okay to add and drop some that no longer fit or feel like could fit. I do feel like with the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, the balance between your feminine and masculine energy could be off. So, and it doesn't matter what you identify as. We all have feminine and masculine energy within us, but it seems like there's distorted masculine energy here. And I'm talking about that coming from within you. Now, there could be like a father figure or something who maybe puts pressure on you in unfair ways, or you feel like you have to live up to some kind of expectation there. And if not a father figure, then maybe like a boss or something like that. But I feel like you're kind of out of whack within yourself, and that's creating more tension and more difficulty in terms of figuring out who you are, which is in turn creating more tension and more frustrations. And I feel like maybe there have been events recently in your life. I think it's so cool because we have the 5 of Swords in reverse over here, and it looks like it's literally directly pointing down at this mirror. Who or what is triggering you? And I feel like Spirit is saying that the positive things in life are not the only way to discover who you are. The negative things help you discover who you are as well. So if there are people who trigger you, if there are places or actions or even words that trigger you, Spirit is really asking you to pay attention to your triggers and really explore them. And I feel like you haven't, and that would actually give you a lot of clarity. And another thing I'm noticing that's really cool is that you guys chose this Merkaba, and it's almost, I mean, these aren't technically Merkabas, but there's like that design everywhere. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. So maybe you want to look into the Merkaba. I can't remember off the top of my head the meaning of it. Otherwise, I would tell you. But Spirit is asking you, this is all about the crown chakra. And I think that you're on the verge of some type of spiritual awakening where you have a better idea of your purpose and are less afraid of exploring yourself. I think that part of the reason why you're afraid to explore yourself is because you're afraid of what you might find. And that's understandable. There are things that we do that all the time that we're not proud of, but we're human and we're meant to make mistakes because we learn from mistakes a lot more so than we do from our successes, I would say. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to stop running from yourself, because whether you like it or not, time's gonna keep on passing. Shit's gonna keep on going, you know? There is no, even if you delay it, you're ultimately just delaying being your true self longer. And the quicker you get started, the quicker you're on your path. And you know, I always think about the fact that I'm the oldest I've ever been, and also the youngest I'll ever be again in this single moment. And I think about that all the time, and it drives me insane. But Spirit is saying there's a wealth of wisdom within you, and they are so badly want to communicate with you more often. And this internal turmoil that you feel, or maybe even external, is creating even more difficulty in tapping into it. And so I feel like clarity of mind is essential for you, because you are maturing, you are growing. And you know, it's not like you hit 30 years old and then you just stop. Like, you're going to be growing and maturing the rest of your life. And the more you understand yourself as a person and understand the changes and your energy and how your energy is balanced and unbalanced, the better able you'll be to navigate the world and your inner world with peace and harmony. You know, the seas won't be so stormy. And I think it's interesting with these fives, you know, these talk about chaos, conflict, change. And I think that you're realizing that there are people in your life that maybe haven't wanted the best for you, or haven't wanted to see you succeed, maybe. Or maybe you're just not very authentic. And I feel like you're fighting with yourself about what to do in these situations. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to follow what your gut says. I feel like you're ignoring your gut because you just don't want something to be true or admit it correctly. But Spirit is saying that it's time to stop taking bullshit little responses or little white lies as acceptable, and to I was like thinking, I'm seeing this like analogy of like a crack in the concrete and then trying to fix it with like not even duct tape, but like just, you know, that little everyday clear tape. Like, that's not going to fix the problem. And that's essentially what you're doing. Like, there's a much bigger problem internally than you're willing to admit. And it's not that like everything is a problem. It's just that there are things that need to be healed that you're not addressing because you're too afraid to open up wounds or address them in the first place. But Spirit is saying that there are so many answers lying within you, and all the secrets and answers to the questions that you've been asking are really lying within you. And so it's time to stop feeling like there's always outside guidance, or there's always outside information that needs to be apparent to you, because your higher consciousness has so much they want to say to you. And I feel like you've just been too stubborn to listen to it. We have a lot of earth here, especially Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. We also have the fire signs with the cheetah, Aries, Leo, Sag, and fixed signs with the world. So that would be Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, and with the star we have Aquarius. But part of getting older is, you know, taking on more responsibility, taking on habits that you might not have needed to do before. It's really overwhelming to take on new things sometimes, and Spirit is saying that they understand that. But don't think of it as this daunting task that's just going to be too overwhelming and be triggering. Think of it as a new adventure and an exploration into yourself. Because I'm sure you have a very rich inner world. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to kind of explore it through meditation. I think a lot of your meditations could be really helpful in terms of you figuring out and understanding things. And I'll actually give you an example. I'll have to use myself because I don't have any other examples. But oftentimes, Spirit will give you answers that you will not understand until later. So like, for example, I was asking about a certain situation and I was like, you know, what's gonna happen here? I'm really curious. And in my meditations, I kept getting the image of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. And I thought that was really weird because I hadn't even seen that movie in years. And like, it wasn't something that I thought about, but I noted it. I was like, okay, Cheshire Cat, whatever the fuck that means. Thanks, guys. Like, really helpful. And some time passes, and then I'm out one night with my friends and I look over and there is a Cheshire Cat that was drawn on a billboard. And then a couple hours later, I'm watching a YouTube video about furries and the girl is wearing a shirt with the Cheshire Cat on it. And I was like, oh my God. And you know, the outside circumstances explain the answers, but essentially Spirit will give you answers in terms of like images and words and feelings or colors, and you might not understand them, but note them, because even if you don't understand it now, you likely will later, and the answers will be revealed. So, and sometimes, you know, you're just not meant to know at that certain time, but then events will happen and you'll realize like, oh, okay, I get why you were doing this. And it's also Spirit's way of saying, hey, you know, we're listening to you, we're helping you, we're not ignoring you. Just because it's not happening the way you want it to happen doesn't mean it's not happening at all. Like, you know, we're orchestrating things up here. You might not be able to see it physically, but it's happening and you can feel it intuitively, but you have to stop relying on just what your eyes are showing you. And I think that's a big problem. We're visual creatures as humans. We really rely on what we can see. And because of that, I think it's a lot harder for us to trust what we feel intuitively, because our main sense isn't feeling, it's seeing. So I think at this time, you need to learn how to see yourself intuitively and see what your gut and your intuition is trying to tell you, because it will make your life a lot easier. And I feel like you will be a lot happier. And I feel like the biggest thing to know and the biggest thing to understand, you know, 30 reduces to 3. And at the end of the day, you are what you are. And like, you know, you just say, I am what I am, and accept what comes, accept what is. You know, we all have good and bad aspects about ourselves. That doesn't make you an inherently good or inherently bad person. And I think that's a big problem with just how we as a society view things. You know, there's us versus them, good versus evil, black and white. Like there's all these different like binary ways of viewing things, and the truth of the matter is that most things in life are a lot more complex than that, and there are, you know, quote, good people do bad things, and quote, bad people do good things. Like, instead of judging yourself for the things that you like and don't like about yourself, just accept what is, because ultimately everything about yourself is meant to help you become closer to the truth of who you are, through the good experiences and the bad experiences. And Spirit is saying that there's so many wonderful experiences coming for you. And also with the star, I feel like Spirit is saying, if you haven't looked into your birth chart very much, I would really recommend looking into your birth chart, especially your north node and your south node, and your rising sign and your house. Now I'm just going into all of astrology, but I feel like Spirit wants you to dissect your birth chart more and see where there might be indications of things that could help you or help you work on things. Because I think that there's a wealth of information within you. You just don't really know how to find it. And you might have trouble with stillness as well. So if you do have trouble with being still, treat it like a skill and make it a competition and be like, I'm gonna be the stillest bitch ever. Like, you know, nobody can stop me. But essentially, Spirit is saying that everything you're experiencing right now is getting you to turn within, because a lot of the answers you're seeking are there. And you know, whatever people think of you, whatever people say about you, ultimately it shouldn't matter, because if you're following what your inner guidance is telling you, if you're following that inner compass, you'll never be led astray. Like, I promise. Even if things seem like they're not working out or something like that, there's an ulterior motive, or there's a higher reason for it. You know, obstacles are just detours in the right direction. Rejection is divine protection. So, you know, just trust that your guides have you. They've got you, they love you, and they want the best for you. But they can't help you fully if you're not willing to, one, heed their advice and go within. But I feel like I went on a really long tangent there. So, okay, we're gonna look at your channel messages from your guides now and see what they want you to know before we get into charms. So what would pile 2's guides like to directly say to pile 2 at this time, please? What would you like to say to pile 2, please, Spirit? Okay, well, we'll start with these. When you see through the eyes of love, life doesn't feel as heavy. So, oh, this is actually good. This is Spirit reminding me of something I wanted to talk about. When I meditate, I always say that I am love. And that helps me really get into that mindset of acting with love and acting with compassion, because, you know, people will test your patience. I will fully admit there are times where I just want to smack a bitch because they're absolutely irritating. It's human. We're humans. That's what we do. We want to smack a bitch. We're primal, weird things that have a frontal lobe. And so now we're consistently freaking out and wondering why we're here. And yeah, but looking at things through the eyes of love really makes life a lot less intense, but like in a good way. It makes it more intense in other ways, but you know, if you are able to observe yourself lovingly and just allow the good and the bad to come, if you love yourself, then you know, oh, these bad attributes about me, they're not the end all be all. I'm not going to be this forever. I can change that, and I can love myself enough to change that. And acting out of love, I feel like, is more effective than acting out of because I need to or because I have to. And that's part of maturing. And I think the more that you accept that, the more you'll grow. But we also have past life healing. So there could be things in some of your past lives that maybe you haven't had an explanation to that could help you heal. So maybe you might want to look into getting some type of past life reading. I have one on my channel. If you want to check that out, I'll link that below if you're interested. But we also have You Are So Loved, and I think that's important because your spirit guides do love you so much, and they're not bringing you to this point to tear you down. They're bringing you to this point to lift you up so that you can act in your highest good and do what's right for you. And also heart chakra. So maybe your heart chakra does need some healing. Maybe you need to be more open to your heart chakra, but Spirit is asking you to pay attention to your heart chakra because that is where a lot of answers, that's where you'll find a lot of answers. And look at how many green cards we have. Yeah, Spirit's definitely wanting to communicate to you through green. And if you use green to avoid your issues, I literally said this in pile 1, maybe address that. Ooh, love is all around you. Family, friends, partners, animals, spirits. So Spirit is saying that this is a lot about love, which is kind of interesting. Which I think self-love is the most important, but if you've been focusing on romantic love and you're finding it not very satisfying, I feel like Spirit is asking you to notice how much love is all around you all the time, just not in the romantic form. Or in the romantic form if you have a partner, but be open to all that love. We also have energy flows where your attention goes. So be cognizant of what you're paying attention to and where your mind is going, because if your attention is towards what a shitty person you are and how you can't accomplish anything, then you're channeling energy towards that, and it's just not, like, that's not effective. We also have everyone has a soul truth. Stick to yours and practice tolerance for others. You may be the sole person with this truth, and that's okay. You are so special. Yeah, you guys need to watch pile 1. Like, this is literally all the stuff that I was talking about in pile 1, and Spirit is asking you to be who you are without judgment. And we have sacral chakra again, yeah. So your sacral and your heart chakra definitely need addressed a little bit. And on the back of the deck, we have the, oh, this is so funny. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here, this top one. We are all at different places in our journey. Be patient with yourself and others. So just, yeah, being patient with yourself is really important. But we also have Almost There, Lazy, which is from 90 Day Fiancé. But Spirit is saying that you're closer than you think you are to achieving a lot of your goals. This lazy isn't meant to be like, meant to call you lazy. It's just more of a joke. But Spirit is saying that you're closer than you think you are. But with this, we know, I mean, if you don't play Skyrim, this is like the Dark Brotherhood thing. But I just took this as to be a Spirit's way of saying, we know what you're going through. We've heard your prayers. We know what's going on. Like, you're not alone. You're not in the dark. We know. And like, we're here for you and we love you and we want you to have the best life possible. And I feel like it's really time for you to start embodying that truth, because Spirit is saying, you know, your prayers are not going unanswered. You're not going unheard, but you need to trust that Spirit does have your back and that you are going to achieve what you want. But that also requires change and action to change. So we're gonna get some charms now and see what Spirit wants you to know with that. So Spirit, what advice do you have for, oh my goodness, pile 2? Oh my gosh, yeah, there are so many similar messages from this pile 1. You guys got a lot of charms too, so Spirit definitely had thoughts. Okay, so, oh my gosh, and there's even cards in the charms. Ooh, okay, so obviously, okay, so I'm not gonna try to take these out right now, but there's an Aquarius charm in here and the letter C. And I think, oh, well, there's the C. The C is coming out. But with the star here, that's more Aquarius energy. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to embrace those unique aspects of yourself. There's something really cool about being, you know, a one of a kind. And I feel like you're almost trapping your creativity and trapping the things that are uniquely special to you. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to stop trapping your soul's desires, stop caging your heart. More specifically, allow your heart to be free and, you know, follow what makes you feel passionate. And I almost wonder, you know, with this Queen and King of Pentacles, if there's a romantic counterpart out there that maybe you need to address something to, or maybe you want to reach out to, that has been on your mind. You certainly don't have to do what you feel called to do, but, you know, maybe that's why you got to go within and figure it out. You got to figure it out for yourself so that you can assess what to do, because Spirit knows things that you don't, and they want to help you. So when you get yearnings to do something, it's time for you to trust them. We also have a dinosaur. So I feel like there are things that maybe you're having trouble letting go of, that maybe like fossilized in your memory. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to maybe address those if they're things that bother you or trigger you, because there might be things that you need to address. But this could also be related to past life healing. You know, things in the past that weigh on your soul and you might not quite know why. I also see this as just like the Kesha song Dinosaur is playing in my head. But with that elder and maturity, you might feel like it's too late for you to start something, or you're too old to start something. And I feel like this is Spirit saying that you're not, because we also have Martin, I believe we named him, out here, who's like just the cool little guy. Like, you're so cool and your guides think that you're really cool. And coolness is subjective. You need to believe that you're cool. I think that you're cool. And I think that being your unique self is the coolest thing ever, and there's nothing better. We also have Sagittarius here but it came up on the back with Optimist, and I think it's really important. I feel like Spirit is saying that it's time for you to think positively about yourself instead of assuming that everything's just going to go to shit all the time, because it's not helpful. Like, it's just not helpful. Like, if you think negative things all the time about yourself, which we all have negative thoughts, we all have negative fears and things like that, but when it gets to the point where it's overwhelming and you believe that you can't possibly do anything, it becomes a problem. And I think that being positive and believing in yourself a little bit more might help you. We also have the moon here, so Pisces energy. or Cancer if you want to talk in astrology terms. But I feel like this goes back to that High Priestess and Spirit saying, hey, you are more intuitive than you realize, and there are a lot more answers within you than you think. And while you might be afraid that these are just desires, or you might be disillusioned, you'll find that there's actually a lot more value in them than you think, because the soul communicates in very, I'm trying to find the right word, in very subtle ways, but the more you ignore it, the less subtle it gets, if that makes sense. So for example, when you are like figuring out what you want to do, or listening to music that you truly love, or you have those people that you just vibe with really hard for no explanation. Those are soul recognitions. And like, I definitely think with that past life healing, you know, maybe there are things weighing on your soul that might not even be from this lifetime. So it doesn't even make sense for you to know why you have these issues, but it can actually be really helpful. So I would definitely look into that. You can check out my reading if you want to. We also have number 8, so August or Leo could be significant, but you know, 8 is also the infinity sign. Let's see what else we have. We also have just breathe. And so yeah, I feel like Spirit, this is a further just like meditation, like be comfortable in the stillness, be comfortable in allowing yourself to just be still and listen. And you know, with this F, like fearing failure is not gonna solve anything. Like the letters F and C. We also have this little shoe, and I always hear like if the shoe fits, and I feel like this is partially just Spirit asking you to own those parts of yourself that you feel like are truly you. Like own who you are. It does not serve any purpose to suppress who you are and what you want. Like there's just no point in it. There's no point. And we also have the music charm and the guitar pick that says when words fail, music speaks. So I definitely think that Spirit is really trying to call to your attention that you could be clairaudient or get a lot of messages in music. If you find that a random song like keeps popping in your head that you haven't listened to in a really long time, that could have a message. Also, pay attention to music playing around you, pay attention to the lyrics, because I do think that Spirit does try to communicate to you through music. But yeah, if there's any unanswered questions, or if there's any questions I didn't answer in this reading, go to the first reading, because I think it will answer those. But we also have this pocket watch here, and I feel like Spirit is saying that some things will just happen in divine timing, and you have to trust them and take action towards what you feel in the day-to-day. But I also think living too far in the past or too far in the future isn't very helpful. Try your best to be present, because that will kind of help your soul get free of this cage, because you can be present about your wants and needs and desires, which will help propel you forward into becoming the person that you are truly meant to be and that your guides want you to be, because they know who you're meant to be. But the fun part is that you get to figure it out and explore it yourself. So treat yourself like the most interesting adventure ever, and really just go within and figure out what the hell it is that you truly want and what needs to change, so that you can take action in the 3D to help make that happen. So pile 2, I'm going to leave this reading here. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, I feel like this lasted for so long. I feel like Spirit had so many thoughts. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards and charms. Definitely let me know down below in the comments how it resonates. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left it a like. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribed and joined our little fam. Thank you guys so much for everything. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye. Hi there, pile 3. If you guys chose the 8th house tarot and the flower agate heart, this is going to be your reading on what your spirit guides want you to know at this time. Spirit guides, God, universe, whatever you'd like to call it. I have your oracles already shuffled, and after we do your cards, we are going to look at channeled messages from your guides, and then we will look at charms for any further guidance. So, Spirit, what would you like pile 3 to know at this time? Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Spirit has thoughts, apparently. Let's just start. We have the Knight of Wands in reverse. We have the Empress in reverse. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. We have the Page of Wands upright. Judgment in reverse. And on the back of the deck, we have the High Priestess in reverse. Okay, let's look at your oracles now. To start, we have blockage, obstacle. We have Sea Serpent in reverse, a burst of magic, spiritual awakening, Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity, love grows love, and finally, South Middle. Okay, so before I even want to start, I just want to ask, are you okay? I am sending you love. I hope you're okay. But if not, I have a lot of reassurance and good news. Don't be overwhelmed by these cards. They're actually very positive, but they are kind of just showing me where you're at right now, because you definitely are feeling very disconnected and very blocked. And I just want to send you the biggest hug right now if you're going through that. But I want to assure you that it's coming to a close. You could be going through the dark night of the soul right now, or you could just be in a spiritual lull, especially with it being winter. If you're watching this during the winter time, it is timeless. So if you come upon it at any point, which I guess technically it's summer in the southern hemisphere. So if where you are right now, it's winter, that might be understandable, but you're definitely feeling out of whack and not too great. There are definitely blockages here for a reason, because let me tell you guys, pile 3, you are like this close to the breakthrough that you've been looking for. And here's the thing, this low that you're in right now is to bring you to a spiritual high, because you're going to be making a lot of discoveries soon. But I can tell that you're not feeling like yourself, and you're honestly not feeling too great. And if you're a creative type of person who usually likes to write or to paint or make art or create any type of thing, I feel like you're not really happy with your creations right now. Like, they might be fine, but they're just not really, you know, they're not your best work, if that makes sense. And Spirit is saying that you're feeling blocked and you're feeling frustrated with whatever it is that you're doing, because there's a major awakening coming that's actually really going to help you with your art or your creations, or just with life in general, whatever it is that you do. Because the fact that the Sea Serpent came out in reverse, I could tell that wasn't a mistake. The Sea Serpent represents the sacral chakra, and I definitely think there are blockages within that chakra when it comes to creatively expressing yourself. And I feel like in terms of life, it's felt really dry as of recently. And I think that's partially because you've really turned your emotions off for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because a lot of rough things have been happening right now, or you just haven't really felt a reason to be open to that. But I definitely feel like you're operating from a place that is not very helpful right now. I feel like you're really worried about making money, and I think that's stressing you out a lot. I feel like Spirit is saying that this is kind of a low in all areas that you might be going through. And if you're not in a low right now, don't worry. I'm not saying that you're going to hit a low. It just, if you were drawn to this reading and you're not like in a super low, but things are just meh, this reading is also for you as well. But there are people watching who are in like a very big spiritual low right now, and really just not, I can tell you're not feeling good about yourself. You're not feeling good about what you do. You're not feeling good about who you are. And now I'm realizing that this is not the Six of Pentacles, it's the Nine of Pentacles. Spirit really wants you to look at why it is that you're doing things, because I can almost see how you've been making things that might be widely accepted on a social level, but I feel like they don't satisfy you on a soul level. I feel like Spirit is asking you to look at your intentions behind the things that you do and why you do them. Are you doing it to make yourself happy, or are you doing it for approval? Are you doing things to give love to others and lift others up, or are you doing it because you want likes or numbers? And essentially, Spirit's kind of blocking your creative abilities right now because you're meant to regroup. Now, if you're not dealing with any creative issues as of right now, Spirit's just asking you to look at your intentions behind everything you do right now. Look at your actions. Why are you acting the way that you are? Is it to get approval from others, or is it because it feels right to you? Are you doing what feels right in your soul, or are you doing what you think will appease others? I feel like you really don't have a solid sense of self right now. But I feel like this period of that is actually ending, and it's going to get a lot better. You're not listening to your intuition at all, which the High Priestess in reverse is really indicating. And with the Empress in reverse, I feel like you just feel lost. And the reason why you feel lost is because you're looking for all your answers in external places, and that's not helpful. And you're actually blocking and delaying any abundance that you might get or that you might be accumulating because you're in the wrong frame of mind when it comes to what you're doing. There's some kind of awakening that's coming. And let me be clear here. No matter what you're doing, it doesn't make you wrong. Spirit brought you to this point to help you go within. If you know anything about starseeds, or you've been looking into that, this could be your confirmation that you are a Pleiadian starseed. If you are into that sort of thing, if you believe in that sort of thing. But Spirit is saying that you're on the cusp of a major spiritual awakening that will, one, not only help your creations, but it will also just bring you closer to Spirit and help you get a solid sense of self once again. There's a major awakening coming here. Like, I feel like it's gonna hit you out of nowhere, and it's gonna make everything make sense. But Spirit is saying that you are delaying this, and actually the key to all of this lies within this card, Love Grows Love. And so Spirit is asking you to start embodying the energy of love towards yourself and towards others. Because one issue that I think that you have is that you're hypercritical of yourself. Whether you're in school and you hate what you write, or at work you hate what you're doing, or you hate what you're creating, whatever it may be, you're not acting out of love when you do things. I think you're either acting out of fear for negative repercussions, like, bad grades, or negative or no feedback. Whatever it may be, you're operating either out of fear or out of a place of ego. And I feel like Spirit is asking you need to start being kind to yourself, because the reason why you feel like you're lacking inspiration and creativity and passion in your life is, one, because you are, and two, because you're not being nice to yourself. And I think that you are holding yourself to these really unreal, unrealistic expectations that nobody could possibly attain. And so it's literally like, and I'm trying to think of like an analogy I can use. It's like asking a baby to do taxes. It's a baby. It can't do taxes. If you want it to coo and like slobber on shit, it's perfect for that. But you can't sit a baby down and be like, do my taxes. It's not gonna do it. It's a baby. Like, and so I feel like you are asking yourself to do things that are just absolutely unrealistic for who you are, and holding yourself to these expectations. And of course, there's always gonna be that one mom that says, well, my baby does my taxes, and you know what? F her, okay? She's lying. She's full of shit, okay? That's an ego thing. Babies can't do taxes. And anyway, you can't hold yourself to these stupid expectations that you have to be all these different things to everyone, and that you need to have this type of acceptance or this type of education or this type of acknowledgement in order to feel worthy or valid. The real approval that you're missing is the approval of yourself, because once you approve yourself, it will not fucking matter what anybody thinks of you, and it shouldn't matter. And when you have love for yourself, it's so much easier to create, because I think one thing that you need is the ability to create without judgment. I think that Spirit actually wants to use your creative abilities and your creative expression. And when I talk about creativity, that could be anything. If you have your own business, creating that business. If you're in school, creating papers, or if you're at work, creating new projects, creating fucking PowerPoints for all I care. Whatever it is, you have to let go of that fear and that belief that what you're doing isn't enough. Nothing is ever perfect, like ever. And you're really doing yourself a disservice by tearing yourself down for absolutely no reason. But I want you to know that you're really on the cusp of a spiritual awakening that's going to be really intense, and but in a good way, and it's really going to get you back in the energy that you need to be in order to do what you need to do. I think one thing that Spirit is focusing on, though, if there are any habits of yours that are really holding you back, it's time to address those. But I think that the really big thing that's holding you back from listening to your inner guidance is the fact that you don't really like yourself right now, and you don't trust what your inner guidance is telling you. And Spirit is saying that you have a special mission here to not only raise your vibration and raise your soul's vibration, but to also raise the vibration of humanity by doing something that you feel passionate about, whether that is making art or, being a doctor, or even doing small things. Just by being a good person and giving love to others, that raises the vibration. You can be a stay-at-home parent and raise children, and that is a way of channeling and uplifting humanity, because you're raising humans that don't have to do taxes but can do what their heart truly loves, and giving them a supportive environment to grow up in. Every person here has a special purpose, no matter how big or small. And I feel like we discount the things that are less seen, but you don't have to have some great, powerful journey all the time, Sometimes we have like more mundane shit, but that is still really important and awesome. Like, I would say being a parent is hard as hell. I don't know. Knock on wood, I don't want to know. But like, I feel like you guys are just really discounting your worth and what you are meant to do. You are so much more powerful than you realize. And you've been led to this point to get you to the point of surrendering so that you'll actually open up. Because this is all about your crown chakra. And I feel like your spirit guides have really been trying to communicate with you more. And they actually really want, like, they're backing up your ideas. They want to help you creatively with whatever you're working on. And part of your divinity is through your creativity. And so the fact that you're blocking that, it's really holding you back from being open. And I actually think that once you start embracing this creativity, you could actually be a lot more financially abundant, but also I think that you will be a lot more comfortable in the idea of independence and just doing your own thing. I feel like your need for approval will be a lot less once you realize that once you approve yourself, then what the world says can't really affect you. And this is going to be a really grim example, but like imagine somebody robs a store and, you know, they get caught, they get convicted, they go to prison or whatever. You know, typically that person should be like ashamed of what they did and the fact that they committed a crime, but at the same time, what all those people say don't matter, because that person still accepts themselves and hopefully they want to maybe not do that again. But like, the reason I feel like that was a really shitty example, but the point I was trying to make is that even no matter how intense the external disapproval might be, and that external disapproval might be right, like in terms of that, I mean, if you committed a crime, like that might be a problem, but the point I'm trying to make is that when you have a solid sense of self, nobody can truly hurt you. Like, things that people say or do might sting, but you can heal from them, and you can brush things off a lot easier when you're not relying on the external world to validate your existence. And I think that's part of the realization that you're needing to come to. But I also think that you just have a lot of fears of truly embracing who you want to be. And Spirit is saying that once you embrace those things about you that make you want to get up every day and make you want to be you, the easier it will be to allow divine guidance to flow through you. But the biggest step is just starting with loving yourself. And like, that's the biggest eye roll in the world. And I'm sure you hear it all the time, but it's true. Like, and honestly, self-love isn't always just like looking in the mirror and being like, yes, I am hot, I am sexy, like I am the baddest bitch in the world. Like, sometimes it's just self-tolerance. Like, you know, I annoy the shit out of myself all the time, but tolerating the fact that I annoy the shit out of myself sometimes, and just being like, all right, yeah, that's a part of me. It can change and it can improve, but I accept it. Self-tolerance, I think, is just important as well. And like, just accepting who you are and not fearing the desires of your heart, because that's really holding you back. And I feel like there are some things that just need to accumulate naturally that you're trying to control and want them to happen faster than they will. And I feel like Spirit's really just asking you to release the need for things to be on a certain timetable and surrender that and just follow what's going on in the day-to-day. Follow your needs. What is your soul telling you? Follow your passions, and really try to make time for yourself every single day, because I feel like you have this major spiritual awakening coming, and it's really going to help your creations, your sense of self, and how you approach the world. So I actually think that you have a lot to be excited for. And like, this is just a low, and like, you're in the middle of this full cycle of realization, and like, you're coming out of it, and things are going to get better. But I think your biggest blockage right now is your aversion to love, from others, and to yourself. So I think that's kind of what Spirit is wanting to relay to you, and that's why you feel so blocked right now. But let's go ahead and look at some channeled messages from Spirit and see what they want you to know at this time. Okay, so Spirit, what do you want pile 3 to know? Okay, they have thoughts. Let's see what these are to start. Okay. Look, we have 222. You are in alignment with the divine plan. So yeah, even if you feel like you're not doing enough, Spirit's bringing you to this point for a reason. And I feel like once you hit that high, you're going to be really grateful all of this happened, because you're going to learn a lot of lessons through that. We also have, I have a message for you in the next movie you watch. Pay attention. So you could get some info or advice on the next movie that you decide to watch. I would love to hear if that does happen. We also have integrity is essential. Stick to your morals and honor your inner compass. So yeah, act with honor, act with integrity. act in ways that you would be proud of. And also the hardest part is getting started. Follow your gut and it won't lead you astray. So if there's anything that you've been hesitating starting, now is the time to do that, and like Spirit is promising that it will get easier in time. But let's see what else they want to say to you. Spirit, what else do you want pile 3 to know? Okay, I'm going to take these 2 blue ones. Inaction is also an action. Get out of your head and make those dreams a reality. Yes, and you need a break. Take time for self-care. So yeah, even if you feel like you haven't been doing anything or you haven't been accomplishing anything, stressing out and like telling yourself that you're a shitty person and that you can't get anything done and that you won't be successful, that's exhausting and that's taxing. You still deserve self-care, and like it's important that you do that. Okay. Finally, we have trust your gut. So yeah, Spirit's kind of giving you the side eye right now. They're like, really? Like, we've given you sign after sign after sign after sign that this is where you're supposed to go. So trust your gut. Like, and especially trust your gut when something's sus. If you feel like you shouldn't trust something or you shouldn't do something, trust that shit. This is all about, like, the only reason you don't trust your gut now is because you don't give yourself enough credit, or you write yourself off. So if you stop doing that, it'll be a lot easier to trust yourself. But we also have pay attention to how you feel after being around someone. Uplifted or drained, take note. So yeah, if the people around you are like not nice to you and tell you that, you know, if they don't support you and they don't make you feel good, then those are shitty friends, my dude. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. The people that are right for you are always going to want to uplift you. I mean, they'll be honest if they need to be honest about something, but at the end of the day, they'll want the best for you and they'll want to uplift you. We also have, oh my goodness, okay. I have a message for you. Pick a book that comes to mind, close your eyes, point to a sentence. If it doesn't make sense, contemplate it and scan the rest of the page for clues. Some answers take time to fully understand. So yeah, Spirit has been trying to communicate with you a lot, and I think you've just been refusing to answer it. And also, the spirit world is much more real than your physical one. Be open to us and we'll show ourselves. So yeah, they might be wanting to have more of a like presence with you, but I think that there might be a refusal on your end to allow it to happen. So if you're more open to the idea of communication from them, then I think that they will work harder to communicate with you. And on the back of the deck, we have clear out the clutter, physical, mental, and emotional. And we have solar plexus chakra underneath that, which is all about like, you know, self-esteem and shit like that. So I definitely think that helping with the solar plexus could, or like working on your solar plexus chakra as well could be helpful. But yeah, with this clear out the clutter, you know, there are things in your mind, in your physical space, and emotionally that are no longer serving you. And I'm also getting another message. If you've been like allowing people to, if you've been like romantically involved with people that you know are not good for you or that are just to fill the void, I feel like Spirit is saying that you might be a lot happier without them, because if they're not there for a deeper purpose and they don't make you feel good, I feel like that's a version of clutter as well. And I don't think that it, with the Empress in reverse, like I feel like it's not, I feel like a void filler is worse than nothing. And coming into your independence might actually help you. You know, I feel like sometimes people can really fuck with our energy. So if there's people in your life that you feel like are just not really there for your growth, and you feel like you hold on to just because you want some type of passion or some type of exciting romance, but it makes you feel unfulfilled, then bro, I got news. It's time to get that shit out of there. Okay, let's look at your charms now and see what Spirit wants you to know. Pile 3. Okay. Oh, there is a couple of letters in here I'm trying to grab. Really tiny ones. Okay. Alrighty, let's look at your charms now. So to start, well, I guess we have Cancer, and the iridescent charm, which is stuck on the Cancer charm. But I feel like things are not very clear to you yet. And part of the reason why they're not clear is because I feel like you're too stubborn to open up to what your heart wants. So you have a very tough shell to break. I feel like Spirit's kind of not roasting you, but saying, hey buddy, like, we're really trying here. You gotta give us some leeway. Like, you gotta work with us. You know, stop pinching the hand that's trying to feed you, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's an insane amount of wisdom within you that will also bring about wealth. So be aware of that. We also have the little bee here. So I'm seeing this in two ways. I feel like it's time to get to work in terms of the things that you want to achieve and work on that inner work, but also seeing yourself as like queen fucking bee, no matter what you identify as. Like, you need to know your worth more. And even if you need to inflate it, like, I feel like that's fine, especially in this case where you're really not feeling good about yourself. Like, telling yourself that you're not worthy and that you suck and that you can't do anything is really not solving any issues. At least when you're saying that you're absolutely perfect, and, you know, which, I mean, I guess that's not realistic, but just hyping yourself up. You deserve to hype yourself up. And I don't know, you'd be surprised about how helpful it can be. But we also have the Four of Swords here. So yeah, I definitely think this is speaking to the fact that you do have things that you need to heal from. And I think that you just need to give your brain a break. Like, it's going a mile a minute all the time, and I just think that's not helping you. We also have the gumball machine, and so this is always a good sign to me that blessings are coming. You may not be able to specify like what blessings they are, but no matter what, it's going to be a blessing no matter what way it comes. And I feel like it will be different for all of you. But the gumball machine is a good sign that there is some kind of blessing or blessings coming your way. And I also think that there's a new start coming, because this white dog always, well, he's not so white anymore, but he's just been outside playing. But this makes me think of the Fool card, because there's a white dog in the Fool. And I feel like it's time for you to realize that you are worthy and you are capable of having a new fresh start. And I feel like one thing that Spirit is saying is start asking yourself why you do things, and why, I guess just asking yourself why. That will help you a lot. And it'll help you see like the intentions behind why you do things and stuff. Because so often we just do things mindlessly because we want gratification in like an instant, well, instant gratification. But then instead of instantly gratifying that thing, be like, why am I feeling this need? And why? And why? And why? And just go through what's that called? The Socratic method. Just keep questioning yourself until you get answers. We also have an M or a W, however you want to see that. We also have an HS. Okay, so if some of you are really struggling with your sense of self, and you're in high school, I just want to say high school was the worst years of my life. It absolutely sucks. It will get better. And if people say that their best years were in high school, I promise you, if you're not having a good time right now, it'll get better. I mean, it'll get better. But for those of you outside of high school, which I feel like will be a lot more, you guys are not the people that you were in high school. And yes, there were people that were dicks to you in high school. And that happens to everybody. But like, at some point, we got to move on from that. Like, and I feel like Spirit is saying it's time to define who you are and who you want to be. And that you don't have to define yourself by what locals from your hometown think you are. You know yourself better than they do. I'm also hearing the song I by Cody Simpson. It's literally just like I. But I'm hearing the line specifically, like, when you're thinking about me, text 143, like, that means I love you. And like, I feel like that's your spirit guides. They might tell you I love you in the terms of the words and letters, numbers 143. But we also have the number 7 here, so July could be significant. The 7th of a month could be significant. But 7 is a spiritual number in general. So I feel like Spirit is saying that this journey that you're on right now, it's all meant to bring you closer to your spiritual side and your spirituality. So yeah, things are going to get better, and you need to trust that they will. But you need to have a stern talking to with your internal dialogue, because it's really not helping you at this point. It's only hurting you. So it's time to take a look at what isn't serving you anymore, so that you can really start showing yourself that love. And I think one thing also that I got when I was thinking about like that high school perspective, don't be mean to yourself just because what you're creating isn't as good as you think it should be yet. Everybody has to start somewhere, and you're going to get better the more you do it. In the words of Jake from Adventure Time, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. So I think that's all I have for you guys, pile 3. Thank you guys so much for watching this all the way through. If you did, definitely let me know down in the comments how it resonates. I would love to hear. And if you happen to enjoy this video, definitely leave me a like. And if you would like to join our little fam, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your cards and charms. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you are watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. If you guys chose this Larimar Moon, this is going to be your reading. I can just tell right away that there are some fierce-ass people watching this reading. Right as I started shuffling for you guys, Megan Thee Stallion's song, Girls in the Hood, like specifically the very first part started playing through my head, like, fuck being good, I'm a bad bitch, I'm sick of motherfuckers trying to tell me how to live. And I really feel like that's the energy that you need to be in or are getting into. But we'll see in your tarot cards what's going on here. But I'm definitely very intrigued by you guys. So your oracles are already shuffled, which we're going to be looking at those in a second, but we will also later on look at channeled messages from your spirit guides, and we'll do charms. So we're going to start off by asking Spirit, what do you want pile 4 to know at this time? And this is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, by the way. Okay, so clearly they're already having thoughts. So to start, we have the 10 of Cups, the 9 of Cups, and the 5 of Cups. Okay, interesting. Let's see, Spirit, what else do you want pile 4 to know? So the 4 of Pentacles, the 8 of Swords in reverse, the Star in reverse. I feel like I need to take one more. The Witch in reverse, and on the back of the deck, the 3 of Wands in reverse. So the Witch is actually the Magician in this deck, I should mention, by the way. This deck is really cool because it's pretty female centered. It's called the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. Of course, if you do not identify as a woman, that does not mean that this reading is not for you. It absolutely is. If you were drawn to it, this is your message. That's just what the deck centers around. But let's look at your oracles now. So we have physical, we have earth, we have the tarantula, number 5, body and soul, number 16, determination. This is the solar plexus chakra. We also have warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? We also have number 42, be free, do what you love, and crystal, soul support. So I feel like a lot of the people that picked this pile are some of the people, I guess not a lot, some of the people that have been asking me to do a life purpose reading, because this spread is all about your life purpose. And by the way, I do have a life purpose reading. It's further down there, but I think one of the emojis on it is like a butterfly, and then there's 3 like panda tarot cards. But I do have a life purpose reading up, if you feel called to go watch that. But the tarantula is really showcasing to me that you're at a crossroads and you're very dissatisfied in your life right now. Because, or if not dissatisfied, maybe you're like chill with your life, but there's a part of you that's not being expressed. Your soul is like, it needs acknowledgement, essentially. You're really holding back. And with this body and soul, I think one thing right away that needs to start happening, this card talks about extreme self-care. You've been neglecting yourself a lot, not just spiritually, but like physically, emotionally, mentally. I think that you've really been in survival mode for a while now, and maybe you might not realize it's survival mode. Honestly, one big thing about survival mode that I've learned is that it's really hard to recognize that you're in survival mode while you're in it. It's usually a lot easier to see in hindsight. So even having awareness that you're in survival mode is pretty big and pretty important, because that can kind of help you get out of it. But I feel like you can really get stuck in negative patterns for far too long, just because you're just trying to get through the day and just trying to exist. And Spirit is saying that there is a huge part of your purpose that's being left unfulfilled. And that's why this tarantula is coming up. I know no one like wants to be called a tarantula or whatever, but you know, tarantulas have important purposes. Like, for example, if you've ever seen Home Alone, when I think it's like Marv grabs Kevin, his older brother Buzz's tarantula gets out of the way and saves his ass. Like, tarantulas are important, and they might be gross looking, but they're important. And we gotta have love for all living things, even if they look a little hairy and gross and have 8 legs. So with this body and soul, Spirit wants you to start recognizing that your body is just an extension of your soul, if that makes sense. And one way to look at this is to look at people and how they express themselves, like how their house is decorated, and how they dress, and how they act, because our body really is an extension of it's an outer way to express our inner soul. So I think like a good example of this is what's her name, the designer, I think her name's Betsy Johnson. You know, she's really known for these like really cute and girly, but like also kind of crazy and wild patterns, bright colors, and like that's an expression of her soul. Like, you know, those are the things that she resonates with. Same with like Kat Von D, you know, her makeup line that she has, like she, you know, it's vegan because she thinks being vegan is important, and like veganism is a big thing for her. But also, you know, she has a very big gothic look, so a lot of her makeup has very vivid things that are very dark. And my point in like using these people, I'm not saying that like I support them or stuff like that. I'm just using them as examples of how people express themselves, and how that's kind of a way to show what's going on in their soul, or like how they express themselves through their soul. And I feel like you really have a fear of expression. With this 4 of Pentacles here, I feel like you guard your deepest desires and your deepest wishes because you're afraid of what people might think if you were honest about them. With this 10 of Cups and this 9 of Cups here, I feel like, I don't know, you might really like Disney movies, or you might think about the concept of like happily ever after and just wonder like, when is that gonna happen for me? And I just want to say, like, happily ever after doesn't really exist. That's a thing in movies. We all have highs and lows, and expecting for things to just be all good one day, that's not really a thing. Good and bad things happen to us all the time. And I feel like Spirit's wanting you to shift your focus from happily ever after to happily in the moment, and pursuing a happier future as well. Because with this 9 of Cups, your happily ever after actually exists within your inner fulfillment and inner happiness. And I actually think that this could be related only if like you're single. If you're with somebody, then disregard this message. But if you're not single, disregard this message. But if you are single and you've been really thinking about fantasizing about like your ideal partner and what you want, Spirit is saying that by following your inner goals, your dreams, the things that you want to accomplish, you will meet that person this way. And so, like, an example of this, Shrek, you know, he has a passion for being left alone in his swamp. And he was very determined, because Spirit is talking about determination, which I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself with this example. But, you know, when Lord Farquaad brought all the fairy tale creatures into his swamp, you know, that was not cutting it. And so, out of pure determination to get his swamp back, he ended up meeting the love of his life, Fiona, and now they had like a beautiful swamp family. But even in the movies, because of course there's multiple movies, like I feel like in the third one, you know, he's freaking out about having children. Like that's the point of happily ever after. If only Shrek 1 existed, we would assume him and Fiona lived happily ever after. But in the second movie, Shrek fights with their in-laws. In the third movie, you know, Shrek is freaking out about the idea of being a parent. Like challenges are always coming to you. And that's why inner peace and inner fulfillment is so important. And like, you never know how doing what you love can lead you to the person that you're meant to be with. And so I feel like Spirit is asking you to stop focusing on some romanticized version of love that is not realistic. And I know that I just used a Shrek movie to illustrate my point, but I feel like Shrek is more realistic than The Notebook. I'm gonna be honest. Like, and even then, love stories aside, romantic love isn't and should never be your only source of fulfillment. A life partner, yeah, is a big thing, and it's something that a lot of people find very important. And if you find it important, that's absolutely okay. But what Spirit is saying is that your identity cannot be completely based on one person. And so I think that if you are with somebody, going back to people who might already have a partner, be married, whatever, you cannot rely on this person to be your only source of joy and fulfillment. You have to have that within yourself. And expecting somebody to fix your problems is that's not realistic, and it's never going to happen that way. You know, nobody can truly heal you but you. And sure, you might have to seek outside sources to help you heal, but you have to have the determination to even want to heal in the first place. But I feel like what's important here with this Five of Cups is that I feel like you get really sad and really dissatisfied with things, but you don't really do much to change it. And I think that's partially because you don't know how to change it, but also you are too afraid to express yourself and your wants and your needs. I feel like some of you might fall into this pattern where you're just like, oh, I don't need anything, it's fine. But then you're like disappointed and like your needs aren't being actualized. So I feel like Spirit is asking you to speak up about what you want and what you need, especially if you're in a relationship, because I feel like, you know, your partner isn't a mind reader, and it's not fair for you to expect them that they're always going to know what you need. Be willing to communicate what you need, and be willing to communicate and be honest about what makes you happy and what doesn't. I feel like you're too afraid to rock the boat at times. And I feel like what you don't realize is that I don't even really think you're going to be rocking the boat. I think you're just going to be making your wants and needs known, which is incredibly important. And with this Four of Pentacles, I feel like you're really holding back your spirit. And this relationships aside, there's things that you want to do. Your life purpose is calling to you. And it might be something big. Maybe it's pursuing a difficult career. Maybe it's going to school for a very long time. Like, for example, if you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer, you have to go to school for a really long time and you have to work really hard. Or, you know, whatever you want to do, it's going to require some determination. And maybe you have no idea what you want to do. That's fine. One thing I want to say is that no matter how old you are, there is no age limit when it comes to figuring out your life purpose. Some people don't discover that stuff until much later in life. And whenever that happens for you, it's the time that you were meant to find that out. But like, this 16 reduces to a 7. 7 is a very spiritual number. And I feel like Spirit wants you to be determined in finding your life purpose if you don't know what that is yet. With this be free, do what you love card, this is literally all about you releasing those inhibitions. What's that Natasha Bedingfield song? The rest is the unwritten song. That song. That's the song that's playing in my head. So I feel like that's a message from Spirit to you. But Spirit is saying that you don't believe and you don't have hope that these things can get better and that you can create the future that you want. And so one thing you might want to look into is witchcraft in terms of manifesting what you want, or maybe getting in line with your intentions. But I think that you have mentally blocked yourself into this box that doesn't really exist based upon either societal expectations or you just believing that you're unable of achieving things. And, you know, if you've ever heard the phrase, no risk, no reward, Spirit is saying, hey, it's time to start taking some risks. And with the Three of Wands here, I feel like the reason why you're not figuring this out is because you're not trying new shit. You're not open to discovery. And what's interesting is that something else came out with this warrior woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? And it was yes. Just say yes. So I feel like Spirit is saying if there's anything you want to do, whether it's taking a class or going to some place that you've never been, or visiting people, or whatever, any soul calling, you never know how it can lead to you discovering your purpose. Like literally, I discovered tarot readings on YouTube. I said yes to clicking on a video once, and now I'm doing the same shit. Like you never know how that is going, how like the smallest decisions can lead you to your higher purpose. And it's okay to not know what that is yet, but I think a lot of you know that you haven't answered your deepest calling and that your life purpose is out there. But Spirit is saying that one, you have to start prioritizing yourself and taking care of yourself because you're so fried, like mentally, emotionally, maybe literally, physically, like you can't put effort and energy towards that if you're just barely getting by. And for those of you who are really struggling to like get out of bed every single day, it's a lot easier to get out of bed once you have a reason to get out of there. And I feel like loving yourself is the first start, which I know that's a huge eye roll and that's such a deep, complex topic in of itself. But it's time to start like parenting yourself and taking care of yourself in ways and addressing things not only... I feel like you have these really rich and vivid dreams, but also these fears of failing. And you don't express these rich, vivid dreams because you're afraid of that failure or afraid of what people might think. And I feel like Spirit is saying it's time to take those beautiful dreams that you have in your head and in your mind and make them a reality. Sure, it might not look the way it looked in your head, but clearly your soul is calling you to do this for a reason. And this determination card is all about the solar plexus chakra. And this is all about self-worth and determination. Well, it's about determination, but this is all about like knowing your worth and using your intellect to your advantage, not allowing you to think yourself into a box. And I feel like one thing that Spirit is stressing is that it's not going to be easy. You know, like a salmon swimming upstream, you're probably going to face adversity. You're probably going to face people that are not the kindest to you or that tell you that you can't do something, or you might face rejection, especially if this purpose has something to do with like really competitive jobs or getting into big schools or doing things like acting or something like that. You're gonna face rejection. That's just inevitable, but it just takes one yes to change everything. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, you know, have you answered your deepest calling? And if you haven't, what do you need to say yes to doing? I do feel like crystals could help you as well in terms of not only manifesting, but I think helping you sleep better. I think a lot of you guys are having issues with sleep, and I think that is making you even more frazzled. So I definitely think addressing like any issues that you might be having with sleeping will be important. Try to consume less caffeine at night. If you're gonna drink caffeine, I would like try to do it as early as you can and try not to have too much. I'm not a doctor. This is just what I'm hearing. Be careful with your caffeine consumption. But Yeah, I also think crystals just for calming. Like, you guys have a very anxious, intense energy. And I feel like a lot of the things that you're going through right now are literally just here to bring you to set yourself free, because you're really just boxing yourself in by the stupid ass societal expectations, or worrying about what people will think of you and shit like that. And it just, who cares? The only person's opinion that you should care about is your opinion of yourself. Because if you think that you suck, why shouldn't everybody else think that you suck? You clearly think it. And so that's why you have to change like that internal dialogue within you, because if you believe that you suck and then somebody says that you suck, objectively you might not suck at all, but you're like really gonna believe it a lot more, and you're gonna be like, man, they're right, like I do suck. And like you might throw a pity party for yourself, and you know, give that shit way too much merit. Maybe that person told you that you sucked because, oh, they're jealous of you and because they want to do those things. Like, you know, a lot of people say things because like either they're jealous or they want to bring you down. A lot of people don't like it when people be their authentic selves. But at the same time, I feel like there are double, if not triple, if not quadruple, the amount of people that are willing to show you support. And I think that because you haven't put yourself out there, you have not been you've not been able to witness how much love that can actually bring in and how deserving you are of that love. And so I think that if you have a solid foundation of knowing who you are and knowing your worth and self-care and knowing how to take care of yourself, any negative things you might experience, any rejection you might experience, any mean people you might experience, it won't shake you the way it will if you don't have that. You know, you'll be able to recognize like, okay, whatever, that's their opinion, and I think that their opinion sucks and is wrong. Like, it's fine. And I think that it's easier as you get older to develop a thicker skin, but especially when you're younger, like, just remember, like, I mean, I'm young, like, I can only say from experience, but it gets easier the more you do it. And like, honestly, you're gonna face adversity, and no matter what you do, and no matter where you are, what you're doing, there's always gonna be people that want to tear you down and that want to tell you that you can't do something, or that will shit on you for the stupidest reasons. And you don't need to know those reasons. You just need to know that their reasons are stupid and they don't have any bearing on you. Like, okay, like, have fun with your weird, sad life where you go and tell people that they're not good or that they can't do things. Like, I'm sure you're having a lot of fun if that's the thing that you need to do. Because honestly, when you feel good about yourself and you feel good about what you're doing, you really don't have the desire to be negative or hate on people. Like, I promise, it's not a thing. And so when people do that, look at it as a reflection of them and not you. They are literally just showcasing the things that they feel insecure about, or the things that they believe about themselves. Because if you're not doing anything negatively towards them, they should have no reason to be mean. But anyway, I feel like some of you need that, because if what your life purpose entails involves you putting yourself out there, you have to remember that you are putting yourself out there to criticism. And when you put yourself out there, you know, you get a lot of good feedback, but you get negative feedback too. You can't be afraid of that. It's just a fact of life. Like, when you put yourself out there, some people just aren't going to like you. Some people aren't going to be on your vibe, and that's fine. But that shouldn't stop you from being free and doing what you love. Because if you're doing what you love and you're genuinely happy, what those people say really won't matter. You're fierce and you're a fighter, and you're meant to follow your deepest calling. Like, and that song's coming back. Fuck being good. I'm a bad bitch. I'm sick of motherfuckers trying to tell me how to live. Like, you don't need other people to tell you how to live. You're supposed to tell yourself how to live. Like, you're a bad bitch. You're a warrior woman or man or whatever you identify as. And you don't need stupid people that are just telling you that you can't do something. Like, honestly, you really can do whatever you put your mind to. And success might not happen overnight. It might take time and it might take work. But if you're truly following what it is that makes you happy, then you really can't go wrong. Because You know, if you have that fear, well, what if I fail? What if I don't succeed? Well, if you enjoy what you're doing, does it really matter? You know, if you had fun, then you got something out of it. Don't do something because you want something superficial or arbitrary. Do something because you love it, not because you want clout or attention or something. Like, do it because it makes you happy. Do it because it helps others. Do it because it brings you joy. Like, you know, when you're following what your soul wants you to do, I promise you'll feel 10 times freer and 10 times happier. And Spirit is saying that you have all the power in the world to achieve what you want. But so long as you don't believe it, and so long as you don't explore it and ignore it and say no to yourself instead of saying yes, you're never going to find those things. And most importantly, you got to take care of yourself, because you're not even going to be able to address these things if you're not physically, mentally, emotionally in a place to do that. I mean, this card talks about extreme self-care, and it's time to start taking care of yourself in a way that you deserve to. It's time to conserve your resources, conserve your energy, so that you can focus on you and do shit that makes you genuinely happy. You know, with this Three of Wands, upright, it's all about expansion, and I feel like you're ready to expand. You just don't have hope or the belief that you can create that world or that you can change. You've locked yourself in a mental box, and Spirit is saying that you can absolutely take these dreams and make them a reality, but you have to genuinely believe that they're there. And don't look at what other people are doing. Trust your unique vision. Maybe you can use that as like inspiration. Not inspiration, but like take little tidbits and tips. But I feel like Spirit is asking you to trust your unique vision. Uniqueness is not something to be ashamed of. And yeah, honor your personality, honor who you are, and have hope that things can change, because you really, you're watching this reading for a reason. And all I can say is that you want to know what your life purpose is because you're supposed to figure it out. Now, even if you go to a reader and get a personal reading, it's not likely they're going to say, now you need to do XYZ at this time with this. They're going to give you something that's more tangible to what your soul is resonating with, but ultimately you still have to discover it yourself. And you have to be determined to overcome the things that are pushing you down and suppressing that, because I promise you will feel so good about yourself when you are living your purpose and living your truth, and it will be so much easier to get out of bed every single day, and you will just like love life, man. Maybe not all the time, but I feel like life will be a lot easier and will be a lot more worth living. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to pay attention to any like things in your environment that are maybe weighing you down. Maybe it's time to clear out some clutter or something like that. But I'm gonna get channeled messages from your guides now and see what else they want you to know. So Spirit, what do you want pile 4 to know at this time? Okay, so a certain deity wants to work with you. Pay attention to the signs. So yeah, there could be a deity specifically that's trying to call your attention. If there's one that came to mind right away, I would say it's that one. But if not, I would just pay attention to things around you, and it'll come in time. Let's see, Spirit, what else do you want pile 4 to know? Okay, you guys got a lot of red cards. So we have let go of what is slipping away. We are making room for much better things. Yeah, if you're holding on to things that are falling away anyway, that's Spirit's way of saying it's time. Don't hold on to things that don't make you happy, because better things are going to come. Spirit also says they show up as an animal you've been seeing repeatedly. So I hope you don't find a tarantula in your house, but if there are any other animals that show up a lot, or maybe you have a friend with a tarantula, maybe it's a dragonfly, or other things. It could be any type of animal, but clearly a spirit guide is showing up as some type of animal. Maybe it's this deity. So if there's an animal that you see a lot, look up if it's connected to any deities. That might help you as well. We also have find me in your favorite flower. So Spirit is also saying, so this deity could be in your favorite flower, your favorite animal, or your favorite flower, but definitely a favorite deity wants to work with you. We also have who is against the queen will die. which is a 90-day fiance reference if you didn't know. But this is Spirit saying that anything that's not meant for you will fall away, but they are here for you, they are working with you, and they want the best for you. So they're going to get rid of things that are not there for your best interest. That doesn't mean that your spirit guides are going to like murder anybody, but it just means that they're going to get rid of them so that they can make room for who is meant to be in your life and what is meant to be in your life. And you need to have that attitude as well. Like, if you're not for me, like if you're not for me, you're against me. And if you're, which I mean, like, I guess people don't have to be for you, but if somebody's against you, then like F them, you know. That's one issue with my channeling. I'm like, well, wait, it could technically be like this, or it could be, and I'm just like, shut up, Madison, you just need to chill. See, I do it too. We all do it. We all have these mental rabbit holes that we go down. And sometimes you just need to be like, all right, well, if you're against me, like, just get away. Like, I don't care. Like, you're against the queen. Clearly you have bad taste. Bye. Like, you really need to have that attitude about yourself, because who cares what's objectively right? It's your life. You should feel good about yourself. We also have, if we told you how your story ended, it ruined the surprise. Focus on this chapter. And that's why I feel like Spirit is being especially cryptic when it comes to your purpose, because, you know, if you're like, well, I only want to do it if I know that I can succeed, or that I'll be really good at it. That's not the right attitude to have. Do it because you love it, because then it won't matter. You'll always be having a good time. And then also, separation is a fallacy. You are divine. Connect to your oneness. So if you're feeling separate from things, Spirit's asking you to really go within and remember that you are a part of the universe. You are made up of atoms and other shit. I didn't really pay attention in chemistry. That are all like, you're literally made up of the universe, and you are a part of the universe, and there is divinity within you. You are divine, and your purpose here is divine. You need to trust that. So Spirit is saying, once you remember that we're all connected anyway, and we're all just one, and yada, 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 everything will make sense. But we also have, well, not 1111, 111. You are the magician, which already came out. So Spirit is saying that you have the ability to manifest whatever it is that you want. But if you don't believe it can happen, it's just not. Whether you can or you can't, you're right. That's all I'll say. What else do you want? Pile to know, Spirit. Okay. So we have the Emperor popping out here with Sir George Carlin on there, and it says, take the lead, you will succeed. So Spirit is saying that you have the power to be really good at whatever your purpose is, and go really far with it, but you have to trust that you can. We also have correlation is not causation. So this is Spirit telling you that just because things look one way doesn't mean it's responsible for that, if that makes sense. This is kind of more of a statistical thing. So if you want to kind of look into what that means, I would. But essentially the point of correlation is not causation. Is just because two things look like they're related doesn't mean that they actually are. And I actually think that the main thing that this is related to in your life is Spirit is really asking you not to jump to conclusions about things. Like, I feel like you might express yourself, but then you stop because, oh, they'll think I'm stupid anyway, or they'll do this, or if one of your friends is like being standoffish, you might be like, oh, they hate me, when maybe they're just having a bad day. I feel like Spirit is asking you to be more objective and not take things as personally as you have been, if you have been, but try to look things from a more objective manner. You know, people are usually thinking about themselves, not other people. So yeah, usually there's a less personal explanation for things. But we also have make time for your loved ones. So if there's anybody that you feel like you've been neglecting, or you feel like you haven't, or somebody that you feel like you should reach out to that you haven't seen in a while, or something like that, I feel like Spirit is asking you to get closer to the people that do love you and do support you, and maybe open up to them about these things that you might want to do or accomplish, because it would be good for you to know that somebody's on your team. And on the back of the deck, we have almost there, lazy. So we have two 90-day fiance references in one pile, but I promise I'm not calling you lazy. This is just more of a joke, but Spirit is saying that you're closer to your purpose than you realize, and really the hardest part is getting started. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get to where you want to be. So let's look at your charms now and see what Spirit wants you to know. Pile 4, Spirit. That's interesting. So, where do I want to start? We're starting with the B and the S. Anything that people tell you that is mean or hateful is bullshit. And I feel like Spirit is asking you to stop deluding yourself with bullshit. Stop listening to what like dumbasses online that don't even know you say. Like, it's just not worth it. I feel like you're allowing the opinions of strangers to hold way too much weight in your life. Do not, please don't do that. It's bullshit, like I said. Let's see. We also have the penny here. 1 cent. I'm trying to see the date. Okay, the date on it is 2015, so if that has any significance. But, you know, in terms of like a penny, you know, maybe your name is Penny. I'm hearing like a penny saved is a penny earned. So, you know, the Four of Pentacles can also talk about saving. So maybe it'll take some time for you to achieve what you want. But Spirit's saying like, start now, start saving now. Like, just thinking about how long it'll take will only make it take longer. If you take action now, it'll probably be a lot easier to get going. Like I said, the sooner you start, the sooner you get there. We also have the pineapple. And I feel like the pineapple is, well, one, the pineapple talks about friendship. So if there are any friends that you feel like could help you or that you feel like could give you clarity, I would definitely talk to them. But also, you know, pineapples are also a symbol of like being welcome in a space. Like, I don't know if this is just a thing in the South, but or like Southern United States, but people, I think, put pineapples in their homes as a symbol of, not like literal pineapples, maybe literal pineapples, but like images of pineapples, whatever, to show like guests and stuff a symbol of being welcome. And I feel like you need to start welcoming new ideas and new thoughts into your head, but also feel welcome and present on earth. I feel like sometimes you might feel like you're not allowed to take up space, and Spirit's really asking you to understand that you're here for a reason and that you're not here to suffer. Like, you're here to live your purpose, and the only reason you're suffering right now is because you're not. And this suffering is supposed to help drive you to the point where you can live your purpose. We also have the color pink, which the color pink to me is unconditional love. And I feel like, you know, this is Spirit asking you to do everything you do with love, you know, be free, do what you love. And with the acorn here, you know, this is like planting a seed and seeing where it grows. But also, you need to be strong enough to tap into that hard exterior that you have to find what your soul wants. I feel like you still might judge yourself for the desires you might have, and that's not useful, because you are the key to unlocking all of your success, and you are meant to unlock your success. But if you're being stubborn, it's time to stop. It's time to be ambitious instead, and trust that these desires are leading you somewhere for a reason. You are meant to be ambitious and follow your dreams. And I feel like Spirit is saying you can trust your gut feelings, you know? So we have a B, a J, and an S, which obviously a lot of people are thinking of BJs, which, man, if that's your dream and you find a consenting partner, go for it. But like, other than that, you know, these could just be letters. They can be anything, but yeah, I think that's all I am seeing for you guys, pile 4. Sorry I got so jumbled with my thoughts. You know, Mercury retrograde is coming and I'm suffering. But see, I'm not meant to suffer. I have to work through that, and I have to just do it anyway, which is why I'm doing readings anyway, because I love doing them. So even if I stumble over my words, who cares? Like, if anyone is angry at me for stumbling over my words, then like they can take 2 middle fingers up. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm doing what I love. I'm happy. And so at the end of the day, like, I'm doing this because it makes me happy, and it doesn't really matter what the response is or how well it goes. You know, that's kind of how you need to approach whatever it is that you want to do, because you can achieve it. And, you know, things are a lot better when you're just having fun doing them. Stop thinking about what might go wrong or what people might think of you. That's fucking stupid. Who cares? Just do what makes you happy. Like, God. Okay. I feel like I channeled a teenager there, but I think that's all I have, actually. So if you guys watch this all the way through, thank you. If this resonated, definitely let me know down in the comments. If you leave a hate comment, you could suck my ass. I'm just kidding. And yeah, if you like this video, definitely leave it a thumbs up. If you leave it a dislike, you can also suck my ass. You can feel the slight truth in there, but also I just really don't care. But anyway, yeah, if you haven't already and you would like to, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you join our little fam. Thank you so much for letting me read your cards and charms. I'm impressed you made it all the way through. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye.